Coffee,
Yeah.
coaching, and Qigong.
Coaching.
Nothing that begins with C.
3 C's, huh?
Yes. Yeah. So we're talking about coaching and specifically how I use energetics in my coaching. And when I'm talking about coaching, I'm talking about life coaching specifically. And it's quite an interesting blend because when you think about the universe, everything is energy. You know, there's so little matter in the universe. What really matters? Everything is energy. So if you can even see this table as mostly energy on an atomic scale, then you can kind of start to think, well, whatever you do, you can apply the rules of energy into whatever you do, and you're going to get very good results. So that's why I put energetic practices into coaching. I just get better results when I do it. So I wanted to talk about some of the specific things that we learn when we work with energetics, whether it's Qigong, Taoism, Buddhism, Hermetics, Kabbalah. There's a few kind of principles that you need that cross over and apply really well with coaching. And the first one is opening. So when I'm talking about opening, I don't mean just like, in a kind of hippie way, open your heart and be peace and loving. I'm talking about very specific openings. We want to physically open the person. We want to see their body open.
Right.
You know, if you're coaching people and you've got this kind of closed body language all the time, then they're not in a state that is going to be conducive for change. It's that closed off system. Then you've got the astral, you know, the ability to open up what's in their ego, what's driving them, what is their identity and their personality. Opening that up and exploring that. And then expanding their consciousness, expanding their mind, and allowing them to really see from their higher self perspective. And this opening, this is done on a physical level. So if you put your drink down, when I'm meeting someone for coaching, and I shake their hand and I'm like, hi, from here, I can use energy and I can start to open that person. And you see it, it's like, okay, right, I'm ready. It's in your eyes. You're ready to have this conversation now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm actually opening up the system, adding energy into the system. And I'm also kind of flooding the field with a specific type of energy that is going to be required for that client. And that I need to discover that. That's, I'll talk about how I do that later. But this opening system is really important. Really important. And on an energetic level, what I'm doing is I'm opening the lower Dantian, which is the physical, energetic part of the body. And then we've got our middle Dantian, which is our astral, our identity, ego, and then we've got our consciousness. And in between these, we have the matrix, which holds everything kind of together. So our Dantian, our physical form, is held to the earth by gravity. And in our base, we have that matrix. So I want to open that root chakra. That needs to open. And so when I'm coaching, for example, I'll be getting people to move around, to stand up. We'll do lots of moving about. It's very dynamic. It's not like jumping about and being silly. It's not just sat on a chair the whole time, because that's locking that matrix closed. We want to stand up. We want to free that stuff. Then we're working the solar plexus as well, which is what holds our identity to ourselves. And so a lot of the movements, because it's an embodied practice that I do, a lot of the movements are about opening the solar plexus. And so when I see someone explain something and they go, "Ah, it's this," I'm like, "Ah, there we go," and we go into that. It's like, what do you mean by this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's opening this section, and adding energy into that opening, creating a positive center of gravity around opening here. And then the throat is the matrix between our identity and our consciousness. It's where we manifest what we feel and what we think, right? It comes out through our talking. And so if someone's throat's closed, then, their head is down, we're not going to get a very good coaching session. So we just, just allow that to open, allow them to start talking, allow them to express themselves. And then finally, our higher self is in our crown. That's the matrix. Our higher self is here. And so whenever we're coaching someone, we're talking to the higher self. We're inviting, always inviting the higher self into the conversation. That's because that's what we're trying to align with. We're trying to align with the purpose, trying to align with the higher self. So we're talking on all of these levels simultaneously. We're opening up that system and allowing that higher self to start to express itself through the body, through the consciousness, through the throat, through the heart, through the throat plexus, through the belly, the center, and into the ground. It's a very important part of coaching.
Just the opening portion.
Just
There's
the
just so
opening
many levels of opening.
Just the opening part. That can have profound effects because some people have closed themselves off so tightly because of protection, a particular belief that they're holding, and everything's glued together so tightly. And just by opening them up, allowing them to open and express themselves, it might put them in a state of vulnerability.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability is where change can happen, right? I want to talk about vulnerability and stress, actually. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but in essence, where you have vulnerability, you have growth. If you have a direction, if you have a goal. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just vulnerability and you're vulnerable and there's no growth. So having those goals in your life is very important. Or at least the direction, knowing your path or where you are on your.
To be vulnerable to opening up to your goals.
It's not vulnerable to it. It's being in a vulnerable state.
So that you can.
It's not so that. It's just that a vulnerable state is a catalyst. It creates the energies that you need to grow. To grow with an acceleration.
So to be perpetually in a vulnerable state.
Not perpetually.
Not perpetually.
So it's the law of rhythm. You want to go through vulnerable states and have that peak growth, and then you come out of that state and you go into a flow state. Yeah.
To consciously go into it.
Well, that's the goal.
Okay.
If you don't consciously go into it, if you don't consciously go into it, life will throw you into it. You don't get a choice.
Yeah. Do it strategically.
And, would you rather have a choice of the times in your life when you're vulnerable and under stress,
right,
or would you rather life just dictated that and it, probably throws you into vulnerability and stress when you least need it? So it's about kind of, owning your life. And you can do that on an energetic level. Because like I said at the beginning of this talk, energy is everything. Everything is energy. If you can understand that and you can harness that for yourself, then you have control of your life.
One of the best ways to be vulnerable is in a safe, controlled environment with somebody who can facilitate that and give you feedback and catalyze the change process.
That's why therapy, counseling, coaching, visiting a doctor,
right,
even just going to see a doctor. I have these symptoms, and you open up about the symptoms. you walk out of the doctor hopefully feeling heard.
Yeah.
And
somebody
and that
listening.
in itself is a release. You know, the amount of times people have said, "Oh, I've had a diagnosis, but I feel so much better because now I know what's going on." Well, actually, what they're doing is they're going into a safe space. They're allowing themselves to be vulnerable. They're opening everything up, and they're releasing that tension, that energetic tension that's in their bodies, three bodies. So, I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. But I also wanted to talk about listening, because in coaching. I'm giving away a big secret here. You don't do very much as a coach. All you do is create the space and listen. And that's so important. So the way that you listen and what are you listening to is crucial. So on an energetic level, I'm listening to the words that are coming through, but I'm listening to the astral energy that's in the words. I'm watching the physical body to see what's in those words, and I'm connecting it to the consciousness, into the higher self. And I'm looking for an alignment. Is there an alignment between the energy that they are putting out into the system, an alignment on their true path, what they're saying, how they're acting, or is there a distortion in that? And I'm energizing the times when there's an alignment.
When there is an alignment,
Yes.
you want to reinforce that.
Essentially, it's energizing it.
Energizing.
I'm not forcing anything.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I don't like the word reinforce. I'm energizing it because then it's down to the client whether they take ownership of it, and I can add the energy without saying anything. I can just send that energy like it's positive. Okay, there's an alignment there, and I just connect that into my crown, and I connect that to their higher self, and if they want to take ownership of that, they'll start to just naturally start to fall into their own natural alignment. Now, the great thing about that method is it means that if I'm wrong and I've misread something, which happens in life, it's not going to snap them into alignment. The energizing won't work. The higher self is going to go, no, actually, that's not quite right. I'm going to ignore that boost of energy that you just put into the conversation.
Right.
do you see where the difference is? Whereas if I reinforce something, that's my perception that is being put onto the client.
Yeah. You're projecting yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that.
As a coach, you never do that.
You never do that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a passive catalyst and just allowing things to happen. Honestly, a coach does very little.
That's a skill. To not project already. We're trained to project and to not do that consciously.
Absolutely. And so I'm also looking at the intent that the client is giving. I'm reading their intent. And this is an interesting thing. The intent comes from the three bodies as well. So I'll see, well, how are they sitting? What's the intent behind their body movements? What are they tending towards? And I pick up, well, okay, what are they tending towards? I start to resonate with that. And then I'll inquire about it. Like, what is this? What does this posture mean to you, for example?
Yeah.
And so I'm mirroring you right now.
You are.
And so when I say, what does this posture mean to you? You see me and you see yourself.
Yeah.
We're connected on an energetic level. And like stuff starts to happen, right?
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it. Yeah.
You might not know what it is, but stuff starts to happen.
Beautiful.
And the same in the persona as well. So I'm trying to just mirror everything. I'm just trying to be that catalyst without putting my own identity into it. And then on the thoughts,
This was powerful, by the way.
yeah. I saw it in your eyes. It wouldn't have come up on camera, unfortunately. And it's like, a realization. Yeah. So then you start to get a sense from that listening. You start to get a sense of their timeline, their future, their goals, without even saying anything, just through listening. paying attention to that energy that's in there. And something that I'm working on currently is I'm developing clairvoyance and clairaudience, because these are going to help so much with coaching. And I'm developing it specifically to try to see people's path and purpose and see their higher self. I want to hear their higher self. I want to hear the energy within the words, and where that energy is going to, and what element is in the energy. And so it's very specific, the skill that I'm trying to develop, and I'm getting there. It's starting to come through. It's excellent. It's excellent. So so clairvoyance and clairaudience, it's clear sight, clear hearing.
The word clair means clear.
Right. So I have a clear vision of what my client is trying to do with their life, what their desire is for their life, what their true path is, what their true alignment is. And I want to see that in them without projecting my perception or my persona or any of my crap.
You want to release on that one.
Oh yes, I mean that's everyone needs to do that. Everyone needs to release on all that stuff, right? Come into equanimity. And so as a coach, you don't speak. It's great. You can do sessions that hardly ever speak. Once you've opened somebody up and you don't speak, and there's one of my favorite coaches. It's worth looking him up. Michael Bungay Stanier, and he's got a couple of YouTube videos. There's one where he explains what I'll explain. This is his system that I'm just going to demonstrate very quickly, and it just shows how you only need like 2-3 questions as a coach. So have you got a topic? We'll just do a 2-minute kind of quick demonstration of
a topic on how to be a great coach.
No, on a topic that you'd like to work on, just something that I can coach you on for 2 minutes.
I would like to learn how to be a good coach as well.
You want to? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
or like how to open somebody up. Sorry.
pick one.
Which one is easier for you?
It's not about easiness, because I don't have to say anything.
Okay.
Let's go with opening. How to open someone.
How to open,
So
yeah.
I meet my client. It's like, okay, hi, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah.
So what's the topic today?
Opening.
Opening.
Yeah.
Right. What's the challenge with that?
Contraction. Before I can open somebody else up, I have to be open myself in order to be able to project.
Okay.
Right?
And what else? And what else?
Energy requirement. The amount of energy that needs to be continually projected into the process of opening. And if, let's say, I'm doing it for 20 people, 30 people, how to manage that? Because maybe it's possible for one person, may not be possible for, 100 people or 20 people within the day.
And what else?
What else? How to make it into a lifestyle. And to make it sustainable every day. To make it a part of daily rituals, to be in that space where you're continually working, facilitating people, opening them.
And what's the challenge here?
Energy.
What's the real challenge?
Lack thereof,
Okay.
maybe.
What does that mean?
Finite energy. Finding the source of energy. Finding a source to be able to continually be able to do that.
And what else?
To be connected to a source of energy continually. I see.
So what have you learned?
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And you realized everything that you said, it comes into alignment with your subconscious and your higher self. It's there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all I said was, what's the challenge here?
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned? I think there was one other question I asked, wasn't it? That's it. Like, it's like three questions. But when you're using energy, and I'm not putting my perception in, I'm acting, when it's appropriate, I'm acting as a mirror for you. Your bodies are aligning, and the information is coming to you, and you don't even realize it. And then afterwards, you go, "Oh,
I need to journal. I need to journal the insight I
Absolutely.
had. This is such an important insight I just had.
That's coaching. That's coaching. And so what we do then, we get that insight,
Mm-hmm.
is we apply it to the metrics of energy. We want volume of that insight. Yeah. We want depth of the insight. We want space of that insight, and we want speed of the insight, so we can hit it every time. We can remember it every time, instantly. That was the insight. So these metrics, they give us clarity on that insight. Yeah, it energizes the insight, and so it's a really important part because it deepens the learning. Like getting the insight, that's great, but 2-3 days later, it's gone. Unless
2 hours, it'll be gone. Right?
okay.
Yeah.
So then we start. Well, how do we energize this? Let's add more volume to that. Let's add more depth to it. Let's add more space to it, and let's increase the speed. Let's keep snapping into it. We can use the law of rhythm, polarity, and all sorts of different exercises, and we start playing with that insight. Then, with that clarity, we can apply that to anything that we're working on, any level. And the way we see it is like a center of gravity. And again, everything is energy, right? If you think of an atom, you've got your nucleus, which is it's like the mass of the atom. It's the smallest part of the atom, and it's your protons and your neutrons and your quarks and whatever other junk's in there, I'm not sure. But you've got that. That's your information on an atomic scale. And then around that, you have your electron field. That's your energy. And everything is made up of this, energy and information. The universe is made up of energy and information. And that information, that mass, has a center of gravity. And you put these together and you make something, you make a cup of coffee. That cup of coffee, because it's energy and information, it has a consciousness. It's very metaphysical now. And so when we understand that this has a consciousness, then we start to think, well, an emotion that lives within us, a self-belief, self-limiting belief, has information and energy, and it has a consciousness. And because it has a consciousness, it also has a will to evolve, to grow, to deepen, to live. It has a survival instinct. And so when we start to take it away, we have to take away that energy. We have to beat its survival instinct. We have to take away the information that's within that self-limiting belief. And this is where energetics is excellent for, because again, we understand energy, we work on an energetic level. We can learn to demagnetize that using energy. Yeah? We were playing with this yesterday. So you find it, you understand it, you gain clarity on it. So you have to know your self-limiting belief in detail. You have to really know it, and it's uncomfortable. My hairs are standing up thinking about, the kind of work that people have to go through. You have to have that clarity in order to demagnetize it. You can't take the information away unless you really understand it. You can't take the energy away unless you really fully have a grasp of it and feel it. Then on an energetic level, we just start demagnetizing it. And there's loads of techniques for how to do that. And conversely, if there's an insight that you have, we magnetize that. We want that to stick. So that insight that you had, we want to add more energy, add more information, develop that insight, give it a consciousness, because this insight, this is going to serve you. So let's give it life. Let's give it consciousness. Let's put energy into it. Let's develop this. And so you're working, essentially it's black and white mirror. Yeah,
Right.
You're working on the things that are going to serve you on your path, and the things that are pulling you away from your path, and adding more energy and information, taking energy and information away. That's what we're doing. That's what coaching is.
That's quite
That's what
alchemical.
therapy is.
Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely alchemical. It's 100% alchemical.
This was intense. I mean, to know these things theoretically and to go over it as an experience, like just now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's easy for me. It's the coach's job is easy. They create the space. They create the space and they just get themselves out of the way. I mean, some people really struggle with that.
But you see, one could have read books on this material. So many books have been written, but unless it's facilitated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doubles the power.
yeah,
You know, we're our higher selves. We create that alignment. You know. Yeah. So there's a few other things. I mean, we're up to about 25 minutes, so I kind of think we should wrap this up. But I was going to talk a little bit about intrinsic energies. So maybe I'll do another video on intrinsic energies, because that's could be a much larger topic. And I will talk about this. So I use Kabbalistic frequencies. When I start to know a client and I start to get a sense of what they might need, I can essentially flood the room with a specific frequency, a Kabbalistic frequency that's going to enable them. You know, so one that I've been working on with someone recently is the letter S, which is power. But I'm flooding the room with empowerment to be on your path, because this particular person knows what they need to do and what they want to do. They don't feel like they have the power to do it. It's like, well, this is the perfect one. Okay, so every time I'm doing the coaching, I tune myself into it. I flood the room with that frequency, and I just hold it there. And then when they walk in, they feel it, and they're ready for it, and they start to resonate with it, and then all the alignments start to resonate with that. And then when they walk out of the room, they have that in their system. You know, their three bodies, their subconscious and their higher self, has aligned with that frequency as well. And it's a really interesting thing to play with in coaching. You see you get clarity on all the Kabbalistic frequencies, and you see the results very, very quickly.
Yeah. We need one of the videos we can go over. What do you mean by them?
Yeah.
What are the mechanics behind it?
Yeah. In essence, it's a prayer. I'm praying to their higher self to allow for the energy and information to come into their mind, to come into their personality, and to come into physical form, to manifest in physical form, so that they can align with their truth. Coaching is selfless. If there's an I in the coaching relationship, it's not right.
And it's a beautiful skill, because as you're coaching, you're also releasing on
Yes.
your.
I love coaching because of the release. You have to release. And because I don't have to say very much, I have to listen a lot. With intense, like it's tiring on the listening and the seeing side of things. That's quite tiring. You know, to do a long coaching session or a day of back-to-back clients is exhausting. But I'm not saying very much. I'm hearing, I'm listening, and I'm releasing the self. That's what I'm doing as a coach. And that's enough. Then it's open the client and allow them to shine, essentially. Allow their higher self to come through. I'm a catalyst to create that alignment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.